Okay, okay. First of all, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, B'Shem Chachodash. I want to give double honors to the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom, man, to the whole for the execution truth with all sincerity, man. Okay, and you know, we mean it, man. When we give double honors to the elders and our apostles, man, we mean it, man. We're sincere about our meaning because, you know, if it wasn't for these men, you know, being chosen in the spirit by Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, we wouldn't come into this truth, man. Okay, we all coming through their works. Right, that's why, you know, putting in the work is important, man, because if the elders didn't do no videos or they didn't go out there and how it was, I would never heard the truth. I would never been brought in among the fold, you know. And the thing is, a lot of people don't want to acknowledge this, right? They don't want to, you know, acknowledge the fact that they were brought in, okay, by men, by men, right? That were moved by the Holy Spirit before them, right? That the Spirit was dealing with, man. That taught you all the things you know about being an Israelite today, right? Really spiritually, our fathers, you know, that have raised us up in this truth, right? And you got rebellious sons out there, rebellious people, right? That, you know, don't want to continue in the things that they learned, man. Which is something that's critical in this truth, right? Because if you're learning, if you're coming up under somebody, you're learning the way in the truth, which you perceive as to be the truth, then you should be carrying on the things which you were taught. Right, I know the elders apostles, they've been going, you know, they've been putting out lots of videos about their elders, you know, High Priest Ariyah, King Marsha, Elder Yaakov, High Priest Elder Yaakov, right? And they do always speak about them. You know, these other camps that are, you know, splintered off, they don't really talk about these men that brought them in, you know. And you know, our elders apostles, beginning with Elder Apostle, they always, you know, acknowledge their teachers, man. Right? And that's something that's important, man, because really they're carrying the torch that those men put down, or, you know, some of departed to the spirit world. You know, I know High Priest Ariyah, you know, he's doing whatever he's doing right now. But really it's the elders, you know, Apostle that's carrying that torch of truth. Right? And anybody that's really splintering off that is really departing from truth. You know? So we have to be careful, man, because we don't want to find ourselves, you know, being without oil. You know, trim your lamps, right? You don't want to find yourself without oil, right? Because you're going to be likened unto the 5 foolish virgins that didn't have no oil in their lamps when the Lord came. Right? So when we say double honors, we mean it. We mean what we say. We mean double honors, man. Okay, so I want to start off with that scripture. Malachi, no, not Malachi. What's it about? It's 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 17. Sure. You know, because these men that came before us, man, you know, we're all building now, right? But, you know, these men were before us in this truth, man. You know, they were building upon the foundation which we now stand upon, built upon the rock, right? You know, first of all, that's Yahweh Shai, but, you know, Peter was made the rock of the church, right? And they acknowledged the man, the King Marshal, to be that Peter, to be that King David, right? And it only makes sense because at the end of the day, who else is fulfilling these prophecies? I wasn't there. I never met them, man. I believe in the testimony of our elders and apostles, man. Just like people that came under Peter, that came under John, whoever came under the disciples, the apostles and that, had to believe their testimony. That they was with the Lord. And that they learned from him, that they had the truth from him. Right? So we move in faith and believe in those same things. You know?
5:19. Against an elder, receive not an accusation.
No? Did I write it down wrong? Let's see, it's 5.
17.
So like right.
Testimony 5:17. Let the herders that rule world be counted worthy of double honor, especially they who labor in the word and doctrine.
Right, and you can't say that's not our elders and apostles, man. The elders and apostles of GMS. You can't say that these men ain't been laboring non-stop. You know, they never took breaks. Okay, they was always out there feeding the flock. Right? They deferred not to, you know, to leave them out there doing their own thing, man. They've been out here teaching. Right? They didn't depart from the word. You know, after the school fell apart, after the year 2000 came, they didn't deter them. They continued doing what they were supposed to be doing. A lot of guys just went back into the world, man, because they had enough. They were fed up of waiting for Yahweh Shai. They lost faith. They didn't want to wait no more. Got impatient and decided to go after the things of the world. But where is that going to get you at the end? It's going to get you set up on fire, man. You know, it ain't going to end well. Right? I was supposed to always be continuing working it, man. And aside from Nate, because Nate was around too, right? He was up on YouTube too. You know, I don't know about street preaching, but I know he's on YouTube, right? We all know that. There wasn't that many people pushing the truth. You know, I know I use that word loosely with Nate because, you know, it's not 100%. But regardless, they were still pushing about Hebrew Israelites, you know, about our Lord, you know, even though he ain't teaching the name of the Lord right now. All right. But it was still being pushed. But primarily it was being pushed because of our elders, man. The elders are the ones that keep going on about the names of the Lord and his son, the Most High and his son, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. They're the ones that keep pumping that out there. Because if it wasn't for our elders and apostles, you wouldn't know that name. You'd be going Christ this and Jesus this, or Yahweh, Yahuwah, or Yeshua this and that. That's what you'd be doing right now. Right? If it wasn't for our apostles, right? Because it just like the Lord dealt with a specific line of men, right? The Lord picked men at certain lines, right? When it came to Abraham, his forefathers, man, they were idol worshippers, right? But the Lord picked Abraham out of that group, right? And then even when Abraham had his sons, he picked Isaac, right? So out of these different formations that have gone on in the past, with, you know, with the different schools and stuff like that, right? The Lord has kept the truth with a particular group of people, particular men, right? Out of these branches, right? And this is where we've come into this truth. We've come in along that line of truth. Right, we can discard all the other people that splintered off and they were doing their own thing. They ain't got nothing to do with the truth. Some people trying to come back into this thing and trying to like they never left, you know, acting like they got truth, but they're bringing all kind of damnable heresies, man, all these false doctrines and that, which they were never taught in the school. They were never taught back then. So why are they bringing it up now? Because a word that appeases more people makes more money. You know, you're aiming for a particular group of people. The more you get in, the more money you can make. Well, but that's not our objective. We don't care who don't agree with the doctrine. You're not trying to make it appeasable to you. You're not trying to make you happy about it, right? Because my sheep hear my voice, right? And that's all we're concerned about. If you don't like what you're hearing, guess what? You didn't like what Yahweh Shai was saying. You weren't of his. That means you're not of us, you know? So we're not concerned about whether people like us or not, or whether or not it's appealing to particular groups of people. To hell with all of that, man. We're not here for no popularity contest. We're here to push the truth, the true doctrine. Okay, wherever that leads us, man, because you know it's going to lead to persecution. But we know this because Yahweh Shai went through the same thing for his doctrine, right? They hated him because of his doctrine. They didn't want to accept him as the Messiah. They liked the way the thing how things were. Just like a lot of these people like how things are right now, even though realistic is hell, and it's turning more hellish by the minute. So I don't know why you want to go back into the world or conform to this world, man. Like this place is heading for destruction, right? For those that are weak-hearted, that can't even deal with being in the faith, man. That really, you talk about being Israelites, but really you want to be part of the world. We ain't trying to deal with none of that. All right? Read that again up. Open the shop.
They heard us that your word be counted worthy of double honor, especially they who labor in the word and doctrine.
Right, so if anybody is worthy of honor, it is those men that are put in the work. Right? And all these Johnny-come-latelys, right, you can't say you put in the work yet. Right? You can't say you put in the work. You've not been around long enough. Elders and apostles have got triple the time on a lot of you guys, man. A lot of you Johnny-come-latelys, man, and more, right? And, you know, like I said, this torch is passed down, man. And now you might want to believe that it's been passed down to you, but when you're sitting there changing doctrine, how can it be passed down to you? You're not carrying the same torch. You're carrying your own torch, right? I mean, you ain't trying to deal with your own torch. We're dealing with the torch that was passed down. You know, the knowledge and understanding that was passed down to us, man. Okay, and the spiritual growth that has come with that. You know, you bring something? Kind of.
So, book of Ecclesiasticus 25:6. Much experience is a crown of old men, and the fear of Most High is their glory.
Right. So like I said, our elders, they're elders for a reason, right? We don't just get to call ourselves elders. You know what I'm saying? They've been in it long enough to be elders. You know, the elders are up on age on us, man. They've experienced many more things than we have. They've seen many more things than we have. You know, the only reason why some men of us that come in the street more recently are become elders because realistically, like they've been in this thing a minute, they've got a little while, but that was the next generation. You know, but realistically, we're not elders. Being in the street 12, 13, 14 years doesn't make you really an elder, really. It don't, right? Because you remember, if we came in this thing as babes, not knowing nothing, but you had to start from milk fresh up, right? Because we were only 14 years old then. We're only 12 years old, we're only 13 years old, or however old you are. In the street, you're still a kid. You're still a kid, really, And we're not meant to be fucking up like that, acting like we're knowable. But guess what? I guess when you get to that age, it's like in the world, right? You got your children, when they get to that age, adolescence age, right, like they get a bit rebellious, man. They think they know it all. But you don't know shit, you ain't experienced shit yet. They're just like that. You get these Johnny come ladies feeling like they know it all, man. But then I tell you what to do or how it is. No, man, you don't know nothing, man. And, I'm not going to mention names right now. I might later, but I'm not going to mention it right now. But that's not the spirit of the being, man. We're meant to be obedient to our elders, because we're still under tutelage. Yeah, we're still under tutelage, man. We're still learning underneath them, man. Like, I don't know all the breakdowns that elders and apostles know. I've not heard them all. I can't then make an assumption, like, you know what I mean? Well, yeah, this means that. I mean, you can do that sometimes, depending on what knowledge you have. You can see where it connects with this precept and that precept. You can do that sometimes, but when you straight up just don't know and you're just going off your own back, oh yeah, no, it means this. Because some of it's ludicrous. Like even these established camps, ICPK, IUIC, with the mark of the beast, like they don't want to teach what it is. They'll make up any crazy doctrine and just try and justify that doctrine, man, when it's not scriptural. So we're meant to continue in the things that we were taught, right? Okay, grab me. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Ecclesiastes 34:9, which reads, "A man that has traveled knows many things, and he that has much experience will declare wisdom.
Mm.
He that has no experience knows little, but he that has traveled is full of prudence."
Yeah, that's right. So I don't know how you expect to, come underneath somebody, learn all this stuff, and automatically assume that you superseded them, that people should be stepping down and all this kind of business. You want to give yourself a grand lofty title and things like this nature, right? But you haven't even got half the experience that the apostles have, that you're learning from, and you haven't got all the understanding that the elders have. All right, but now like I said, you don't want to take orders. You want to create your own thing. You want to be the head guy and whatever, and you lead your people into destruction, essentially, man, because you're not fit to rule. You're not fit to rule or lead your flock. All right, this is why our elders and apostles are important, man, because if they're on point, then we're on point. And that's what it is, man. But you got people trying to take away from the doctrine, add to the doctrine, and all this stuff, man. What's this going to lead you into muddy, destructive waters, man?
Even if you become someone, because most of these people, they're looking for
attention.
attention,
Attention, man. They want attention.
But they need to be known. They want that stuff. But at the end of the day, even your parents, your parents, there's some men or your mother, your father, your father and your mother, they raised you from when you was born and pamper you and everything. when you grow up, you can't be like it.
But the thing is, right, the scripture talks about raising your young one in the ways that they should go from early, right? So they should not depart from like your past, because you're meant to bring them up in your image, in the way you want them to go, for them to be righteous and to be morally responsible and all this kind of stuff, right? But the thing is, man, because this world is so toxic, right? You got people that can't leave that toxicity behind them, man. So they turn out to be bastards, they turn out to be brats, right? They want to bring that how they were with them, right? But the elders have been trying to raise you the right way, but you're still being held back by the toxicity of the world. You know, you think it's acceptable to act the way you act. It's not acceptable. That's not right. The video on manners, man. They don't come up right, man. They're just worldly children, rebellious children. Because these children are getting more and more rebellious by the day, you know. And all that is prophesied, man. That children will be rebellious, They start listening to their parents and that kind of stuff. And that's what we've got today. A bunch of emotional cats out there that don't know how to act proper, you know. Shall you grab me second Timothy, chapter 3.
This book, 2 Timothy 3 and 14. Let's continue down.
You want to read up? Yeah, sure.
This book, 2 Timothy 3 and 14. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived.
All right. So when Satan gets up in you, man, and starts trying to tear you away from what you know, what you were taught, right? You're gonna wax worse and worse because if you don't rebuke that demon or you don't try to set yourself straight, you don't pray, you don't fast, you ain't trying to get rid of that demon, right? Then you're gonna find yourself out there, open, exposed, vulnerable for further attacks. So you're gonna wax worse and worse, man. And this is what we witnessed. It's like well, I've been in it a little while still, but I've been in it for a while now, and we've seen people do exactly that. That think they know better. They think they get rebellious. They think they know better, and they go out there, do their own thing, but they don't last very long. And the reason why that is because they don't continue in truth. Now they could have split and continued teaching the truth, and everything would have been fine. The Lord would be with them, but the Lord is not with them when you start, corrupting the doctrine. A minute ago you didn't know nothing about the 12 tribes, but then you want to mix up the 12 tribes sign. You want to say, no, it's this and it's that. You didn't know nothing about the 12 tribes sign, man. You didn't know a damn thing about it, but now you're the master on it. You didn't get the breakdown. You was given the breakdown. Those apostles gave you the breakdown, man, because they learned it. I believe high priest Aviar broke that down. All right, you got that from those men, but yeah, you want to run with it like it was always yours. No, the Lord wasn't dealing with you, man. You weren't the men the Lord was dealing with to give you that knowledge, man. So who are you to then say, oh yeah, this ain't right, or that's right, that ain't right, or whatever? Who made you an authority over the elders and apostles, the men that you learned from? No one made you. You made yourself the authority. Yeah, you made yourself all these titles, man. But guess what? A lot of these guys are not around. They're not around because the Lord ain't dealing with them. They didn't have no real drive for it. They were just upset because they didn't like something, and that hatred was fueling them. Or at defiance. At defiance they were out there, but they obviously didn't have the faith. They didn't have the spirit. They didn't believe in what they were doing because they dwindled out. They died. The fire went. Now they're just Jake. They're just like Jake in the world. Just other Jake. They're not a part of this thing no more. So we've seen this over the years. And if a lot of you don't get right, a lot of the other guys get end up like that too.
Let's continue down in the things which thou hast learned and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them.
All right. So when you came in this truth, right, she just speaks about being assured in their own minds. Right? That's basically to say to know for yourself, right? So when you came in this truth, right, we learned under the apostles and that you were convinced, you believed that these men were men of the Lord, right? and they taught the truth. So where along that road did you then start believing that they're not? And then if you don't believe that they're the men of God, then why do you now still carry the things that they taught you? You have to start from scratch. Really, that's what you should be doing. You should be starting from scratch. If you're that deep, if the Lord, the Spirit of the Lord is dealing with you that deeply, right, you should be starting from scratch because you can't believe nothing that the elders, the apostles taught if you don't believe that they're men of the Lord. But you guys don't do that. Now you want to adapt it. You want to shape it into something else. You want to shape it into your own thing, so you can come up off that. It's a come up. You use it as a springboard, man, for your own platform. That ain't right. And then you want to make doctrines that are simple to you, how you see it. You want to make yourself sound deep. Oh, the apostles, they don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, but they only taught you everything you know. You know what I mean? And you've gone there and corrupted it. Now you sound deep because you're saying something contrary to what you were taught, contrary to what the elders and the apostles speak. So now people like contention, right? So now you got people listening because they want to hear the controversy, they want to hear the tension between the camps and the different brothers and that kind of stuff. They want to see that, so you get attention, But we're not here for all of that, man. This ain't no fucking what they call them reality TV program, which is fake. You know what I'm saying? All this contention and get the views, get the TV ratings. No, we ain't here for none of that, man. We're here to teach the truth, man, and that is it, man. Stay steadfast in the things that you have learned, right? Because that's exactly what the Peter, John, Mark, Luke, all of them had to do that, and everybody that came underneath them had to do that. Anybody that didn't do that, guess what? They were judged. Because we read about these men that started bringing in damnable heresies and wickedness into the churches, man. Right? They won't get dealt with because they didn't continue in the things that they were taught. Right? So, like I said, we believe in the whole procession of our brothers being Elijah the prophet, who was prophesied to come and return to the fathers. He started bringing this truth out to us, man. Right? And underneath him, they had Elder Yaakov, King Marshall, High Priest Ariah, those men were under direct tutelage of that man. And they carried that torch. Right? And then, like I said, Elder Apostle Hart, Elder Gabar, Elder Apostle Ramlab, all the apostles, right? They were taught consequently under those men. Right? So that's knowledge that's being passed on. Some kept to it, some didn't keep to it. And that's just the way it's always been in the scriptures. Some men kept to the things that they were taught, and some didn't. But the ones that didn't ended badly. And so we're just part, well, Lord willing, we're just part of that line that keeps that truth going. Yeah, come on.
It's the book of 1 Timothy 1:19. Holding faith and a good conscience, which some having put away concerning faith have made shipwreck, of whom is Hymenaeus and Alexander, whom I have delivered unto Satan, that they may learn not to blaspheme. Some all of these brothers who come up in the truth. Right now, like the brothers say, they're just young, like maybe for 12 years or 14 years, try to defend, the apostle, to make to speak ill of, those men who were before them, At the end of the day, man, you're gonna be left alone,
That's it, man. Because the Most High ain't gonna take kindly to you guys, man. Because he never did in the past, right? The Lord is only dealing with a select group of men, right? But that select group of men, there's that line of truth, that torch of truth that is carried on through all those men, carrying the same truth, right? That's why we're one. We're one in Yahweh Shai, that truth, right? These men are trying to pervert that light, to pervert the gospel, and take it a different direction, man. Teach their own way.
That's the way, because this thing is about faith, I think. When you come to the truth, it's about faith. But people they try to bring, well, the burdened people, like I mean, to keep the laws and stuff like that. You know, which law is good? You know, if you, I mean, if you keep it, I mean, oh, I mean, 100%. But we understand we can't keep it 100%. That's why we have to go by the vibration of faith. You know, which
Uh,
at the end we keep the law the best we can.
and realistically, man, having those teachers or those men set up around us or above us that teach us, right? That's all part of faith too. Because you got to believe in those men that they're teaching you the truth. Now, like I said, you come in this, you believe in that. So that obviously means you demonstrated a lack of faith. Now you might say, yeah, but we're not here to have faith in men. We're here to have faith in Yahweh Shai. But like I said, Yahweh Shai set up those men. He set up men to follow, to believe in, to have faith in also. Because you got to believe that they got the doctrine, right? So there's men that are set up to do that. So evidently at some point you've lost faith because there's something in you, you know, emotions or whatever, has made you lose that faith. So if you lost faith in this instance, what's to say you're not going to lose faith in another instance? And not to say that, you know, man don't get weak, man don't, you know, lack faith sometimes in certain things. You got to pray for that. You know, you go through your moments in life, right? In the street, man. But to depart completely, right? That shows you, man, that you're not gonna be able to stand in the day when it comes. You're not gonna be able to stand in that day, man. And again, this is why that knowing what the MOTB is important, man, because that's an important decision you got to make in that time. And that's going to show you where your faith really ultimately lies, right? We're going to have to see where that is right then. All right, we know what General Harlan is going to tell you, or what he's going to do. He's probably on pre-order. He probably got it on pre-order, man. He's ready, you know. IUIC, oh no, don't worry about that. So that's okay to take. The same way, you know, the whole Max was all right to take, you know, because these clowns are promoting all of that. They're promoting everything East Coast fishing right now, you know. So you're gonna have an important decision to make, man. And it's important to know what the MOTB is, what the mark is, right? So you can make an informed decision on whether or not you want to get delivered or not. But guess what? It's not up to you. It's not up to us, right? That's up to the Heavenly Father who He's chosen to deliver and who He's not. Because those He ain't planning on delivering, guess what? You're gonna take that mark. You're gonna take it, regardless. None of us are in control of that, right? We're just doing our jobs as the messenger, as the prophets, as the men of the Lord. We're doing what what we're commanded to do, which is to warn the people. All right, but that doesn't mean everybody's gonna acknowledge the warning, right? We know this. So, but we're just making sure we're doing what we're supposed to do.
To tell this other nation as well. Do they believe? No,
Exactly.
they're not going to believe.
You might say it's a waste of time, but serving the Lord is not a waste of time. Period. Because we rather do the commandments, what He's commanded us to do, than not do them, because otherwise He's going to hold something against us. So it might be a waste of time on a carnal level, but spiritually it's not. You know, because it's something the Most High requires us to do, which is for our benefit. So it's not a waste of time. Only us doing what we were told to do is what's going to get us saved, because we believed and we feared. You know. Was there any more on 2 Timothy 3? Yeah, just read that. Yeah, read 14 again. Read 14 again. Read 14.
But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned, knowing of whom thou hast learned them.
All right, so let's say we put our trust and our faith in those men that brought us in, right? Because it's all part of Yahweh Shai's design anyway, to come in under other men, right? I know you guys don't like hearing that. You don't like, oh, we don't do the commandments of men, or men pleasers and all this kind of stuff. It ain't about that. But evidently, there's a way to come in. There's a certain way you have to come in. You didn't get this truth on your own, right? You was told, you was taught, right? And there ain't nothing wrong with admitting that. There ain't nothing wrong with being humble and admitting that you didn't know shit before you were taught it. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? You acting like there's a problem with that. There's nothing wrong with that, man. Right? Peter Paul, John taught other men. Other men had to believe what these men said, right? Because but they might not be necessarily there when Yahushua was there. So they had to believe in what they were saying, right? It's as simple as that. But if you can't, then you don't have faith. All right? Which leads me on to the next one, right? Acts chapter 2, verse 42.
So book of Acts 2 and
42, yeah.
42.
Should be 2 and 42.
Okay. So book of Acts 2 and 42. And they continue steadfast in the apostle doctrine.
Whose doctrine?
Apostle doctrine.
I mean, it doesn't say Yahushua's doctrine there, but it is Yahushua's doctrine. Because the apostles' doctrine is Yahushua's doctrine, because that's what he taught them. Right? Common sense. But who were they getting it from? They were getting it from the apostles. And that's the same way we come in. We're getting our knowledge and our understanding from our apostles, man. The apostles that were set up. And like I said, that torch is passed down by, a particular group of men down to us today. Just like how the Most High has always dealt with things. It come through a certain amount of man, not many men, it come through a certain amount of man, but then it kind of branches out. Just like by the time, Jacob was born, right? It was only the Most High was dealing with one person at a time kind of thing. But then when Jacob was born and when Jacob had his sons, it spread out. It spread out to the 12 tribes. Everybody now part, of Jacob that come up with Jacob is a part of this now. All of their seed. And that's a lot of people now. But that's the same way. It was a narrow beginning, right? But it's come upon all of us, man. That continue in that same truth. Yeah, read that. Get up.
This is the book of Acts 2 and 42. And they continue steadfast in the apostle doctrine and fellowship, in the breaking of bread and in prayer. And the fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done by the apostles.
Okay, so that's the point, man. But then imagine this now, like when the time comes when people start getting spiritual powers and stuff like that, and you see the apostles doing stuff or the elders doing stuff or whatever. What are you gonna say then? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna say? That these are not the men? These are men of Belial? And these are the devil? What? Because that's what they told the Lord. You're gonna have a reason and an excuse to not believe. So you're always gonna find a reason not to believe. Because you're just set up not to. You're just set up not to believe, man. You're set up to go your own way. You'll find your own path to perdition. You've been set up to do that, right? You're not set up to follow the path of the men of the Lord, right? But it says they continue steadfastly. They did not waver, left or right. They stayed on that path that the apostles were telling them to. All the understanding that they were giving them, And like I said, you had men that departed and did all kinds of wickedness. Remember, the Bible tells you that they were doing all kinds of wickedness. And that's all we're pointing out today. We're just pointing out those that are left the way, the right way, and doing their own things. And we just pointing that out, man. And people don't like that. People don't like getting pointed at and saying you're doing it wrong. Sort yourself out. They don't like it, And they'll defend their position to the end of the world, man. Regardless of how disrespectful they're being. Regardless of how wicked they're being. They don't want to acknowledge fault. And that's because of pride. Pride is lifted up in these men. They don't accept fault. They can't accept fault. Right? And they'd rather blame everybody else rather than look at themselves. Like I said, you didn't come in the shoe of your own, man. The Lord didn't come to you and break down the scriptures to you. He didn't send you an angel and give you this understanding, man. You learned this truth under the apostles. That is, for lack of a better word, the source of our knowledge. Obviously, the Lord is dealing with you. You come to understand certain things and whatever. You get deeper understanding, but primarily the foundation came from the apostles. The milk and everything came from the apostles, man. Because prior to me learning, I didn't know nothing about no Israelites. I didn't know nothing, man. I was at university trying to become an engineer. You know, that's what I knew. You know, and then curiosity. You know, through the brother Elder Ricard from the camp here, right? He sparked my curiosity, man. And started telling me things that I couldn't believe at the time. You know what I mean? Because it's contrary. Because in this world, you're taught different. You're made to understand different. So when you hear things that are contrary to what the world brings you up knowing, it's like, what? And my curiosity was sparked. And then I started getting into what's actually in this book. Because everything else is just a rumor someone told you. I never went to church or nothing like that. But your common preconceptions of Jesus Christ and that is like, oh, he's a white man, he's this, he's that. You know, he comes to save the world. Like everybody else believe, right? These are the preconceptions, right? But when you start reading this book, you start understanding, man, that none of that stuff is true. You know, the Lord never came for everybody. The Lord isn't a so-called white man. You know, he's not a leper, right? You find out what a leper is. You know what I'm saying? You don't know these things. You didn't know these things, man. And then to throw the term of to throw shit back, throwing shit at each other or throwing shit at your elders, that's disrespectful, man. You know, you got no tact, right? Gone up.
Well, because this, the history about Moses and the son of God, they came against the order, because they didn't want that Moses to be on top. They want all to share the
That's right.
position. But at the end, Mosiah would have done, the kings of Israel.
They thought they were the same as Moses. No, Moses is something completely different to the rest of the Israelites, man. There's certain men that are just different. Not all Israel's the same. Not all Israel's of Israel, man. There's certain special men in Israel. And I think what I was meditating on the other day, man, because the Lord's got his elect, he's made his elect from the beginning of the world, right? The spirits, right? That was only a few men. I don't, because the whole nation of Israel weren't there. I don't believe that. Well, maybe I'll get corrected, but these guys that are in Israel are really just progeny of those elect men from the beginning. You know? So realistically, you're lucky to be in the nation of Israel because of the elect. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in the nation of Israel. You wouldn't be an Israelite. You know? Not all Israel is equal, man. Moses is not a regular man among Israelites. Right? There's certain special men in these scriptures, man. The elect are special among Israel. And like I said, man, when the kingdom is established, guess what? You're going to come back to our seed. Right? That's why I was thinking about it, because that's why I think, like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, it was supposed to that, but, I was thinking that from the beginning, it must have been like that. Those men were created at the beginning, right? Because it tells you he was there from the beginning with Yahweh Shai and that, doing, creating the worlds and all that kind of stuff, right? With the angels and that, right? So obviously, there's more that came forth after us, more spirits that came up after us. But at the beginning, we wasn't a nation. We were just certain men that came up on the earth in these particular bodies, right? So in the kingdom, it's going to be like that. It's going to start from those men. And you're just going to be progeny. You're going to be Israelites. You're going to be progeny. And you're going to be gifted just because you're Israelites, not because you're special among Israel. It's because you're just Israelites. So Moses is not a regular man. These men that were speaking against Moses should not have said nothing to him. Because they weren't on Moses' level. The Most High was dealing with Moses. I said those men were just fortunate that they were brethren. That was it. But that doesn't give you the right to speak against Moses. King David, King Marshall. It don't give you no right to speak against them. All right?
The point you've been talking about, the children of Mosiah on the ark. From them, the nation of Israel came. This is the book of Numbers 6 and 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of Mosiah came in unto the daughter of men, and they bare children, to them this same became mighty men, which were of old men of renown.
So this is essentially us, the Israelites before we was being called Israel. Sons of God is technically the same name. Because Israel means prince of the powers. Prince of God is the son of God. Right? So it's the same thing. It just means it's talking about us back in those days, right? And yeah, we were bigger, bigger stature. We actually, everyone was bigger, of larger stature. You know what I mean? Esau putting some digging up bones that are just massive and all this kind of stuff. Humanoid and all this kind of stuff. I can't verify none of that, but I've seen it. I've seen some of them claims, right? But we was bigger back then anyway. And that word giants really goes into being men of skill, men of renown, man of talent. Man of notoriety. People were being famous. They were well known on the earth. Yep.
So we go to the account of this is the book of Number 16:1. Now Korah, the son of Idar, the son of Korath, the son of Levi, and Dathan, and Abilam, the son of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Moses was certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown, and they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said unto them, Ye take too much.
So Salaki, who made them princes? Moses would have to sign that off, kind of thing. Like you're a noble man. Come and have this office. Because none of them are princes by name, but by default they're princes of every father. But in the nation, they were just men that had certain standing, that certain wealth, certain influence, certain knowledge, and that kind of stuff. But they were just men. It was Moses that kind of said, "Look, you're going to take this office. You're going to take that office." But Moses was still at the top of the chain. So they were princes because Moses made them princes.
And said unto them, Ye take too much upon you.
Because a moment ago they were all slaves. A moment ago they were all just slaves, man. They had no prince title or nothing like that. No, these were just men among the congregation that Moses thought were noble men or whatever. And he made said, yeah, you gotta hold this office. That's what a prince is, someone that holds an office really up a high level. That's what it really is.
Ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Wherefore then lift ye up.
But why did they believe that? Because Moses told them that. Moses was the one that said to them, look, you're the Lord's people. Follow him. Don't go into idols. Follow him. You are princes. You are sons of the living power. So the only reason why they could even say that is because Moses taught them and told them that. But now they feel like, oh, I got a position now because I was given this position, but I'm going to use this position to try and get one over on Moses. Nah, you can't do that. You got your mind. Well, yeah, they were.
Seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Wherefore then lift ye up yourselves above the congregation of the Lord. And when Moses...
so why do you hold a higher seat? What do you mean? He gave you positions in the first place. Of course he holds a higher seat. He's the one that gave you the position. You can only give authority that, like, if you're the authority, you can only give it down. You can't, you know what I mean? If you're the one giving the authority, you're the head authority. Moses was the head guy. He was the shepherd, man. He was leading them. He was the one leading them. But no, because they got gassed after what Moses told them, they felt that they had a claim to rule him. But they didn't.
And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face, and he spake unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, Even tomorrow the Lord will show who is and who is holy, and will cause him to come near unto him. Even him who he has chosen will he cause to come near unto him. This do take you censers, Korah and all his company, and fire therein, and put in incense in them before the Lord tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom the Lord does choose, he shall be holy. He take too much upon you, ye sons of Levi.
So it's like in today with these splinter cells, right? that branch off and think they got a claim now. They got a claim to lead the flock. But you weren't set up to do that. You were set up underneath the apostles, underneath the elders. You know, your position was supposed to be underneath. Now you might have, through good works. Now you might, attain a certain office and that. But ultimately, you're still going to be underneath the apostles, man, because you're underneath them. It's just as simple as that. You learn under them, but now you want to supersede them, just like these guys wanted to supersede Moses. But Moses was the one that made you what you were. You know, otherwise you would have been a slave in Israel still, in Egypt still. You know, Most High set up Moses to take you out, to lead you out. You know. Yeah, I know. I was gonna say, you want to skip to the point towards the end. So like these upstarts, man, you can't go on acting like that, man, because it's disorder, man. It's rebellious. And that's what they're being rebellious, thinking that they're on that level. Well, you ain't putting the time, you ain't putting the effort, right? As the always the apostles are or have. You haven't done that, right? So what gives you the right? Did the Most High come to you and give you all these breakdowns? No, they always told you those breakdowns. Now you might claim, yeah, but the Lord told me that this is wrong, and really it's this way. But where everything else then? Because if you're going to discredit the elders and apostles on one thing, you might discredit them on everything. If you can't trust these men, that's what you're saying. Especially Al-Azhar, man. I mentioned saying that. But he's downright disrespectful, man. He's the most disrespectful one I've seen ever. And he has no way. He has no right to act like that. You got the point, yeah. Okay.
And Korah gathers all congregation against them unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the glory of the Lord appeared unto the congregation. And the Lord spake unto Moses and said, and unto Aaron, saying, Separate yourself from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And they fell upon their face and said, O power, O the power of the Spirit of all flesh, shall one man sin, and will thou be loved in all the congregation? And Moses rose up and went at Dathan, Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, Depart, I pray you, from the tent of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all their sin. So they get up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan and Abiram on every side, and Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives and their sons and the little children. And Moses said, Hereby ye shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of mine own. If these men die the common death of all men, or if they visited after the visitation of all men, then the Lord has not sent me.
So what was it? But he's gonna say that these men didn't want to deal with the Lord, isn't it? So basically, after all of that, after claiming this and wanting to do this, man, they didn't. They said that let Moses deal with it, man. It is that piece that you're getting to, isn't it? Yeah. It is that piece that you're getting to, innit? Basically, they said let Moses deal with the Most High. Yeah. I'm trying to say he's all the way down. What verse you in?
I think it's down here.
Bear with us one minute. I can't see it anymore. You sure it's not in a different chapter? No, that's alright. We can move on. But yeah, man. By the end of the day, man, Moses was the one the Lord was dealing with, right? And it was at that time, that moment where they didn't want to see the Lord. You see it there? Okay.
This is, number 16 and 44. And all Israel were round about them, afraid at the cry of them. For they said, lest the earth swallow us up also. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up and their houses, and all the men that appertained unto Korah, and all their goods. They and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. And all Israel that were round about them, afraid at the cry of them, they said, lest the earth swallow us up also.
So they were judged, Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mark is reading this somewhere else, something different. Yeah, he's reading what's to it was. It doesn't matter. Yeah, grab us Malachi chapter 4 verse 5, because we have to kind of recognize that we've come into a great work, and there's prophecy surrounding this great work and things that would happen, how this truth would come about, and be given to us, and it starts with the prophecy of Elijah coming again, right, to return some of the fathers, right? So there has to be a man that fulfilled that, there has to be a man that fulfilled that, and then consequently, you're gonna have men coming after him, right, to lead us, to teach us the way, just like John the Baptist did. John the Baptist was a forerunner. He came before, right, before the elders and the apostles came around, before Yahweh Shai was on the scene doing his thing, and so a man had to have done that, right? Because it's through the Spirit. Because at the end of the day, there's things that we believe in that it can't be proven, that you have to take it in faith, right? Like things like the how our language is spoken, the Lashon Kodash, how it's spoken, certain things we just have to believe in it, right? Have faith in it, because at the end of the day, it wasn't going to come round by carnal means anyway. There's no book on it. There's no, there's no documentation to say that you're an Israelite. You have to take that stuff in faith, right? But through the Spirit, you understand these things, and you learn how to understand the Spirit, right? So we know a man was set up to do this, to bring us into the knowledge of who we are, right? And obviously, truth was expounded from thence, based on the understanding that was given to the men, that learned under Elijah, which is who we believe is Abba Bivens. Right, so there had to be a man that did that. Okay.
So book of Malachi 4 and 5. Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse.
Right, and that's exactly what John the Baptist did too. So there's a whole point where, what was John doing? He was preparing them. He was preparing men for the return of the Lord, or the coming of the Lord. Right, to get their mind right, to do certain things. Because basically it's like them rehearsing the righteous act over again, being righteous in the eyes of the Lord rather than the eyes of men, rather than the eyes of the scribes and the Pharisees and all that kind of stuff. Because although they taught the law, all that kind of stuff, they weren't right. They weren't doing right, and most of the wicked ones lacked faith, and they were greedy. You know what I mean? They were worldly, right? So John the Baptist, he was teaching, preparing these men for the coming of the Lord, man, to follow the Lord. He weren't there to do his own thing, to have his own band of merry men following him. That's not what he was there for. And you got those that say, "Oh, John the Baptist put out the truth." But how? He didn't do that for himself. He didn't get together those men for himself. He's preparing them for the Lord, and he blessed the Lord. He baptized the Lord. So how can John the Baptist go off? So that's what I mean. All these ridiculous doctrines that come into these groups that the Lord's really not dealing with, man. And that's one of those things that they branched off. They left the truth. They got their own torch going now, and it's gonna run out because it's gonna be because the true truth, the real truth, is gonna stay alive. It's gonna stay alive. But their corrupt version of the truth, man, that's gonna go out. It's gonna go out at some point. Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna go out. Okay. So yeah, so Elijah was prophesied to come to turn the hearts of the fathers to sons and sons to fathers. Right? So that was achieved by a man who we call Abba Bibli. Right? He's the prophet Elijah coming back in a reincarnation. Because reincarnation is an important thing to understand. Right? Because otherwise, why would the Lord say that he'd be here at the latter end, in the latter days? That means he's going to come back. He died, obviously. We've died plenty of times. We come back in our lots. The elect were there from the beginning. The elect are here today. So what does that mean? They've been recycled throughout time. You know what I'm saying? So they died and come back many times as different men, in different bodies, different identities. Yeah.
What do you think the people say? Yes. One of the prophets.
Elijah, they say. Elijah was already there, or he's already been. Yeah. But they didn't know, because he didn't know. He didn't proclaim, because John said it himself. I'm not him. But he didn't know. No one knows their identities, but at the end of the day, people had an understanding of what the possibilities are. It's possible the Lord could have been Elijah, one of those great prophets, come back again. That's what they believe. So you can't say there's no precedent for it, because it's obviously something that was in their minds. And it wasn't just the disciples; other people were talking too. Just the common people. They were talking about, oh, what's this guy doing these great works? Oh, is it this person? Is it that? Because he'd asked them, who do people say that I am? And then he asked Peter, who do you say that I am? Right? And Peter knew who he was. Peter understood that he was the son of the living power. He weren't just merely a prophet. He weren't just another Israelite or he's a prophet. No, it's not that. Yahushua is the son of the only begotten. He's the only begotten son. Right? Direct descent from the Most High. So he's not on our level. He is way above our level. Worthy to be praised. The angels bow and worship him. And we're just men on the earth at this point in time. So always, as I always get that picture, man. As I always go around, yeah, Beerus, man, when the Omni King came, right? When he came in his presence, man, he wasn't expecting him. He see him, he just bowed. And there was a table in front of him. He just put his head on the table, man. He just bam. Because that's what you gotta do. That's why a man gonna be kissing the ground, man. His face is gonna be on the ground when the Lord comes. So you think you're not gonna bow? You don't think you're gonna worship? Prostate. You don't think you're gonna be doing all that? Nah, man. All right.
Every knee shall bow down.
Every knee shall bow. Every knee. That's including us. We're gonna bow. So that's reverence. That's worship right there. So yeah, Elijah's coming in this current time that we're in to bring truth to the men of the Lord that would come after him. Right now, it wasn't complete. Just like John didn't come with a complete everything. Yahushua came with a complete. Right, I started expounding onto the disciples and the apostles and that. But even after that, the disciples and the apostles weren't perfect. You know, they were still learning after the Yahushua left. They still had to go through things, learn things, experience, and all this kind of stuff, right? Because it's not just about knowing, it's about doing, right? Knowing how to be brotherly, you know, knowing how to be selfless, right? Faith has to be proved. You can't just say I've got faith. It has to be proved, man. That means time needs to have its toll on it. Adversity needs to come upon that faith to be tested out. So there's things that, you know, I said they didn't get everything right, but things it grows. The tree grows. It grows, right? And it's the same thing that's happening in this current time. Elder Abba Bivens came to Elder Yaakov, as I understand it, you know, and things have grown since then. You know, understanding's grown. You know, things have progressed. We understand more than we did then. You know, and the current holders of that torch, of that knowledge, is elders and apostles, beginning with elder apostles of the heart. Right? That's the line is gone. That's the road it's taken. Right? And we're to continue in those things that we have been taught. Otherwise, you're not a part of this great work. Right? Or these men that are supposed to come back and do these things to fulfill these prophecies. You're departing from that line. Because you don't give no credence to these men. You don't give no credence to Abba Bivens, Elder Abba Bivens, High Priest Yaakov, High Priest Ariyah, King Marshall. You don't give no reverence to these guys. But these were great men before us. As a result of, you know, they're part of the result of what we know. You know, because it's passed down to our current elders and apostles. You know, but you guys don't want to, you don't like to acknowledge that or believe that even. You know, you like to believe that I got this truth. That the Lord is dealing with me. I got this. I received this. No, you was taught. You was given it. You know, freely have you received, freely give. And you got people trying to make merchandise out of the truth. You know, you want the spotlight to be on you, but you don't mind, throwing shit at the men that came before you. You know, making them seem less. You know, well, the Most High don't take kindly to that. You know, you don't move with any fear.
Every idle word shall be over. Time in the temple in the day of judgment. So every those words that we speak, those defaming the apostle, them to look like they're just like the sons of Burial. You know, one day you're gonna have to answer them. You know.
Now, if you don't believe that Abba Bivens is a liar to the prophet, then I guess you're gonna have to tell us who is. Who came before you? Who showed you the way? Is it you? You know what I mean? Is it you? Are we got to wait again for this whole thing to come out again? Even though this is like things been taught since the 70s. Have we got to wait again for certain men to appear? To come in after Elijah? Have we got to wait again? Oh man, this ball has been set in motion a long time ago, man. Okay, and we're at the latter stages of that journey, man. The end of this kingdom is nigh.
Some preaching, I was shy in the
envy and strife.
Yeah, envy and strife. That's what
yeah.
It is.
Because they want their own glory.
Yeah, they want to be seen like they're the one who will start everything. But we have to do the new work. On the foundation which was already laid down, which is our Shai And as brother said, that order was passed down to 7 men, and now we take position as well during that work, that spiritual temple.
Entering into the labors. Yeah. You know, and like I said, like we're not here to get accolades. We're not here to get grand titles. I don't care. I don't want or need a title. I don't need reference. I don't need acknowledgement. Not in the world. I don't need that. I'm just trying to get acknowledged by the Heavenly Father and His Son. Because the only what I want to do is get out of here. I don't care what people think of me here. That's not important to me. You know, I'm not trying to get no spotlight. I'm just trying to do what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's a fight to do that sometimes, man. So you're just battling with yourself to do the right thing. I don't care about nothing else, man. I just want to do the right thing. You know? Or I'll just concentrate on the fight that I'm fighting. I ain't trying to concentrate or trying to obtain things and, make myself greater than I am or whatever. You know what I mean? But a lot of people leave to do that, because they want that high seat. They want to be the high chief, high priest, and all these things. They want to be these things, you know? So I'll be lucky to get on the chariot. You know what I mean? We can worry about titles in the kingdom. You know what I mean? Who's going to oversee what and whatever. But I need to get there first, you know? Willing. Right, so yeah, so I'll speak briefly on about Bivens and the prophecy of Elijah returning to bring this truth to us. Right, that's how it comes into the world. Then you got other guys that I think were around at the time teaching Hebrew Israelites and that kind of stuff, or Israelites, or whatever was going on at the time, man. So I weren't there in the 70s, so I don't really know too much about what's going on exactly. But I know there's other groups out there at the time too, and that's where you get these Israelites from. Old Testament, yeah. I believe other beliefs is part of the old commandments or something like that. Something like that. Something like that. All right. So I know there's groups that existed around at the time, but this truth didn't come from them, right? And I'm going to show you why, right? Because they don't fulfill other prophecies, right? They may have been around, but this knowledge, this truth wasn't with them. All right. Did I want to get one first? Yeah, I think so. Haggai 3 and 4. Isaiah. 3, 4. No, I didn't want to share. 1 second. Ezekiel 37 and 16. I'll grab that one after this. Yeah. 16.
Ezekiel 37 and 16, which reads, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and light upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, this his companion.
What's the verse above? What did you say?
Yeah. This Ezekiel 37 and 15. The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man.
Actually, I want to go up a little bit more, I want to start from verse 12 of the shot. Right, because this is the moment or the time where this truth started to blossom. Right, this the understanding of the Hebrew Israelites, understanding who we are. This, in that time of the 70s or whatever. This scripture is speaking about this now, right? Go on up.
This is Ezekiel 37.
And you can read from the top, but I just want to get down in it. So it's up to
Ezekiel 37 and 12. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith the Lord in power, behold, all my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves.
Right, so the Lord is going to take us out of our dead state, right? Because the lack of knowledge keeps us in this dead state, man. The scripture speaks about roughly paraphrasing, those without knowledge are remain in the congregation of the dead, right? And right, so that's the state we've been in all this time, right? We've been in a dead state of mind because not knowing who we are, what we're doing, what we're here for. We're just slaves in the system. That's all we are. That's all we've ever been for the longest amount of time, right? Just another cog in the Esau system, right? While the whole time we're trying to fight for justice. If we're not being oppressed, why are we fighting for justice? We're obviously being oppressed even now, So the Most High has given us knowledge and understanding back again. So we have something to work towards and to work for, right? To do, because ultimately, who's going to bring us out of this oppression? Heavenly Father and His Son. Right? So we need information for that. We need knowledge for that. Right? We got to know that law is for us. We need to know who we are. You know what I'm saying? Who we belong to. All right? Go on now.
And ye shall know that I am the Lord when I have opened your graves of all my people.
Right? So He's going to give this knowledge, wisdom, understanding, right? But again, who was going to be sent to give us that knowledge, wisdom, understanding? Elijah the prophet of our biblics. Okay? Yep.
And brought you up out of your graves, and shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall bless you in your own land. Then shall ye know that I, the Lord, have spoken it, and performed it, says the Lord. The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick, and light upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions.
So my question is going to be this, right? Who did this, right? Because like I said, there might have been other groups around there, but where did these sticks come from? Which we know to be now the 12 tribe sign. Where did it come from? Did it come from these other Israelite groups that were around at the time? No. It came through our line. It came from our line, beginning of our Bivens, right? High priest Aviyar was I think was one that put together that, right? So it came out of that line. It didn't come out from these other groups, right? So they fulfill prophecy here, right? So it's important to pay attention to that, because where did it come from? Let's say your guys try to tamper with it and say, "Oh no, this ain't right. This is this and this is that." But where did it come from? It didn't come from you. You didn't know nothing about no 12 tribes, right? It came from the line of men that we've been speaking about, right? And it's been passed on. It didn't come out from nowhere else. It now resides with what you call GMS now, which is just it's just a name. There's there's no, you know what I mean? Ain't nothing with any significance. It's just a name, right? But that's where it is right now. That's where the truth is passed through on to, you know, through their elders and apostles, from what they were taught, what they learned, right? Because the truth is coming back. Okay, so that's the fulfillment of that prophecy, right? No, no.
Uh, for, for Israel, for the children of Israel, his companions, then take another stick and light upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companion.
Right, and they were combined together, right? And this is why we've got all the tribes on the signs, and this is why it incorporates the Puerto Ricans, the Issacharites, the Mexicans, the natives, the Native Americans, guys, it's all these together because we're all one. There's a lot of groups that still in that black Israelite stuff, man. That the Hebrews can only be black. Well, that's evidently not true. It's impossible, when you think about it, right? Where did it come out of? It didn't come out of these other groups. I know vocab has to get into the whole one West and all this kind of stuff, but yeah, there was a certain route it took that got us to this point where we are today. Okay, but we're continuing those things that were from the beginning that we was taught. Anybody that's trying to meddle with that and trying to change it up, man, is obviously one of those fucking bastards, one of those bastards, man, that are not in the street, man. Because they're trying to corrupt the doctrine, just like the scripture says people would do. And then we're meant to beware of these people. Right? We're not meant to follow them. We're meant to be circumspect and beware of these people, mark them, that cause division. That's what we're meant to be doing. We're not meant to be beguiled by these guys. Oh yeah, but he might have a point, And yeah, the thing wasn't quite feeling. You know what that is? That's you getting sifted. That's you getting sifted out. I wasn't quite, I didn't really believe what the elder said about that, but he sounded like he's making a bit more sense on that thing. Yeah, because why can't I have sex on the Sabbath? All this sort of stuff, right? Now, like I said, that's that's Satan. It's Satan doing his job, right? We're sifting you out, getting you out there, Because if you're doubting the things that you were taught, guess what? Satan's doing his work, innit? He's taking those out that are not of the elect. It's really quite simple, man. Just like many men were taken out in this truth in the scriptures. They started in the correct way for a while, but then Satan comes to take them. It's parable on them, right? Satan takes them out of the game, makes them start believing other things that they weren't taught, right? They go after their own heart, after their own lusts, after their own desires, right? But like I keep saying, that only ends badly because you didn't stay on the path, the narrow path. You didn't stay on it. You went the broad. You want to go, you want to go on the broad path, man. But the broad way leads to destruction. Right? It's the same.
Just quickly, what you say, we need to be aware of this. It's coming up. Leaders put themselves as well as a leader of the nation, but at the end of the day, they lead Israel in the wrong way.
They lead them astray. Yep.
This is a book of First, Second Timothy, and the 4 and the start from 14. So Alexander the coppersmith did me much evil. The Lord reward him according to his work, of whom be thou aware also, for he has great withstood our words. So yes, this is an account of Paul. There's some men back then also were against this church, this work that we're doing right now, which we see them right now back then. As brother said, incarnation is in the Bible. Everyone has been brought back to their own. They are allowed to do the same thing that they used to do back then. So then people are here try to work this truth from going forward. That's why they come with this as a doctrine which they didn't learn from those men who were before them. Try to bend the truth.
And it's meant to be this way, because things repeat itself, right? I said we're all back here today. We're all back, right? Doing what we're supposed to be doing, doing what we was doing back then, right? And you're gonna have those people out here that are gonna teach contrary to true doctrine, So we're gonna have these back and forth with people because it was going on back then. So, I'm getting a bit tired talking about Adazar and Sky and that kind of stuff. But just as an example again, it's like, well, if this guy called his camp Sakari, then quite possibly that's who they were. You know what I'm saying? They're acting like as if they are. So, it's just the same. Everything's the same. These people are back today doing the things that they were doing. And so not really I get mad, but it has to be this way.
Get mad for good reason.
Yeah, but it has to be this way. It's not like, oh yeah, well, I wish you just get because not everybody can get it right. Not everybody can get it right. Right? We know this. Majority of people are going to get destroyed. Right? You just be on the list. There's nothing I can do. Anyone else can do to prevent that. So it's annoying us from a righteous scriptural perspective. Because you're out here doing all kinds of disrespect and stuff, right? But you can't really get mad at you, man, because you're just playing your part, and you have to play your part. And they say, maybe there's those of you among these different camps that are going to come to the realization of the truth and depart from these groups, because that happened too. That happened in the scriptures too, right? So we expect some people are going to come out of these different groups and be of the elect and be sealed, but doesn't mean like all of you will. We just have to wait and see, man. But like I said, all we're really doing is concentrating on our jobs, what we're supposed to do, defending the gospel and things like that. That's what we're meant to be doing, right? Trying to teach people to come up with the right way, right, and not come up off of the ways of certain other groups, right? Yep.
So the book of Titus 1 and 11, 10. For there are many unknown and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of circumcision, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole house, teaching things which they ought not was not for Facebook's sake.
Yep.
Some of the leaders, man, they teach about the what? The market, the MOTP is all. It's sweeping this world. It's a woman, I mean, white woman. You know how if you've seen that's the MOTB for you. You know,
But you know, white women are clean lepers, right? So you know, I don't see why that's a problem. But you know, you make fun and games, man. But at the end of the day, like stuff that you come out with, you just kind of just pull out your ass, man. You know, how could that possibly be the mark of the beast? It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. It doesn't make any sense. How do you apply that? Yeah, everyone ditch your woman, get a white woman, and you'll be able to go eat in the shops. Nah, it ain't talking about that, man. You know, or you got to be married. So you got to have a wedding ring on her hand, everything. You got to have documents saying that you're married. No, man, come on, man. Like, how do you even do that? None of that makes any sense. And I'd rather not entertain that. You know. So yeah, but back to Ezekiel, well, sure. Where did you finish off?
16, 17. Should I go back to 16?
But yeah, you can.
This is the book of Ezekiel 37 and 16. Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and light upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and light upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand.
All right. So who was this prophecy fulfilled by? Who did this? All right, that's my question. I'll continue up.
And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by this? Say unto them, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribe of Israel is Pharaoh's.
All right, so it represents the two kingdoms, man, because they were split, they were divided. All right. But what's happening? That division is being breached, it's being sold up. Right? We're coming together as a people. We're not continuing to be separated anymore. But this truth brings us together. Okay, so we're no longer separate. In the truth, we're no longer separate. Now you got ignorant people in the world, you know, they're still doing their thing. But in this truth now, our people are together. They're being brought together by the word. Right? Back as one. Right? And that's come through the 12 tribe sign that you see and our teachings. Because like I said, they didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know nothing about being a Benjamite or any, you know. What did Alexander know about being a Levite? He didn't know. You know what I mean? But you know, this word is bringing us all back together because this is what's prophesied, right? Yep.
And I will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. And the stick whereon thou lightest shall be in thine hand before their eyes, and say unto them, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and I will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land.
Right, so this is what's going to happen, right? When we're delivered, we're going back home. But this isn't our home, believe it or not. You know what I mean? We're not native of England or of America or wherever you are. You know? And you got some Israelites in Israel today. But guess what? It's not really your home. You know, it's being occupied by the devil. Right? It's not really your home. But it is our home now. You know? But we're gonna go back there. Right? When we get to there, we're gonna go back there, we're gonna rule in our land, we're gonna make that place proper nice. You know what I mean? Because right now it ain't a lot to be desired, to be honest. It's not the jewel of the earth like it's supposed to be. Under these heathens, under the Amalekites. You know, it ain't a paradise right now. But we're gonna, you know, it's gonna be returned to that state. Okay, and we're gonna be in it. We're gonna be welcomed home, right? So we have to wait. But prior to that, we're coming back together. Okay, under the word, okay, 2 sticks, as you see, the 12 tribes sign is bringing us back to the knowledge of who we are. You know, the elders broke down the 12 tribes, break down that kind of stuff. There's long ass videos, some long ass videos, man. I remember those videos back in the day, man. You sit and download it. You know, it was a long ass video, and they did them deep dives into them. You know, each individual tribe characteristics, and they broke it all down. I didn't break it down because the understanding wasn't given to me. You know what I'm saying? It was given to them, and that's the same for all of us that came in this truth. Well, yeah, under the apostles. I was gonna say since the 2007 when the YouTube came up, right? Everyone that come in from those teachings, right? None of us had that breakdown before we saw it, before we watched it, right? None of us knew that, right? But even before that, obviously, the elders that we have, they were also taught by our apostles, right? So they learned that breakdown too, you know. And we started to understand who we were, right? So it's our elders and apostles and their elders and apostles that really ultimately brought this truth into the world, man. With the power spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, prophecies of the great men that will turn up, beginning with our Bibbins. You know, that's the line we belong to. This is the work that we're getting into, man. Right? We're builders as they were builders. Okay? So we've entered into that work. And we're to continue in that work, man. We're not meant to leave off the job and then go start building something else. That's vain. That's vain. What? Because you want your own establishment. Because you want to be the cornerstone. Nah, none of us are cornerstones, man. You know, we have to respect the way the Most High does things, man. Follow the prophecies and follow the understanding, man. Okay, and have faith in the process.
Them one nation in the land upon the mountain of Israel, and one king shall be king of them all, and there shall be no more 2 nations, neither shall be divided into 2 kingdoms anymore at all.
Right, so the scriptures mention about David, their king. David's going to be back, right? He's been here, you know, here is King Marshall. And for those, you know, that person, or these people that believe that King Marshall couldn't be King David because he's passed away. Well, King David is also Peter, he's also Moses. They've all passed away. Does that mean he's not King David or he's not Moses? Exactly. So, regardless of the name of the man that was around at the time, because they say Moses, Peter, Zerubbabel, King David, they're all the same person in the spirit. You know, they just had different identities when they're here on earth, man. King Marshall had the spirit of King David. that's who he was in his flesh. He was called King Marshall here. King Marshall, you know, and just because he's passed away, don't mean he can't. No, he can't be he can't be King David. He can't be the guy in the spirit, because we know that the dead's going to get resurrected. You know, that's what I mean. Reincarnation and I don't understand what the resurrection, that kind of stuff. It's important because that would mean that any person that dies in this truth, they ain't going to get no reward. Can't know.
So, First Thessalonians 4 and 15. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep.
So basically, so what? So what if they perished? So what if they perished in the flesh? What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything, because these men have done their works, man, and their works follow them. You know. So again, beginning with Albert Bivens, Elijah, right? He's gone. He's returned to the spirit world, right? What does that mean? That he ain't gonna get his reward? That he ain't gonna have his place in the kingdom? Or that he wasn't the prophet because he died? What, the prophets don't die? Come on, man. Peter died. All the apostles, all the disciples have died. What does that mean? It don't mean nothing because we come back. That's why. It don't mean like the elect were there from the beginning, before the world was even created. Death isn't anything to us. It feels that way in the flesh because you mind the flesh, right? You know, you don't want to. The flesh perishes, right? You disappear from the earth in this body. But as a being, because we wasn't made in the flesh at the beginning. He's made in the spirit. So this body is being, it's not us. It's just something we're in.
House.
It's the house of our spirit. So us as a being don't stop existing. Period. Right? But we return again in another body. Right? So the fact that King Marshall has passed away doesn't mean anything, man, because he's going to come back when the Lord comes back. Right? Because the Lord, he's going to be with the Lord. Same with Abba Bivin. He's going to be with the Lord. And same with any of the brothers that died in this truth while they've been serving Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. They're going to come back, as the scripture tells you. Okay? Yep.
For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangels, and with the trump of Most High, and the dead in Yamashia shall rise first. Then we which are alive.
So in this thing, like say some of us are going to die, the majority of us are going to remain. That's why Yahushua said to them, some of you here shall not see death. Right? But all of those apostles died. All those disciples, they died.
Walking and walking.
Yeah, they all went.
Yeah, they're all gone. Nobody's 2,000 years walking around.
So what does that mean? Let's say it doesn't mean anything ultimately. It just means at that point in time, it wasn't for the kingdom to be restored. Yahushua wasn't, to complete everything at that point in time. But we're here today in the last days for Yahushua to come and do that. But even now, some of us are going to die. Beheading, because it's prophesied. Right? So what does that mean? Does that mean they failed? Does it mean they're not going to get their reward? Does it mean, they're not going to occupy the lot that the Lord promised them? No, it doesn't mean that. It's just the way the Most High wants to do things. End of the day. Because at the end of the day, those that are martyrs for Yahweh Hashem Yahshua have a greater glory at the end of the day. Yeah, we persevered down there, but they actually died for the truth. Which we all have in a way at some point in time, but that's how the Most High wants to do it this time around. Certain men are going to die. Right? But those that remain, got not to you.
But those, and with the trump of Most High, and the dead shall lie, and the dead in Yamashia shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the crowds to meet the Lord in the air.
So we're gonna meet the Lord, King David, Elijah. We're just gonna meet them. We're just gonna be drawn up to meet them. They're there already. They're waiting for us. They've done their job. They've completed their course, like Paul said. They've done what they're supposed to do. It's us that have got to worry about what we're doing. They've done it. They're with the Lord right now. That's right. They're ready to come and kick Esau's ass when they come back. So, but those of us that remain, we're gonna go meet them. But they're already gonna be changed. They already are changed. You know what I'm saying? They're already perfect now. It's us that have got to get there, meet them, and all of that. So they're already in their lot. David's on the right hand of Yahushua, just like Yahushua's on the right hand of the Most High. You see what I'm saying? So because David is still going to be a king over us, just like Yahushua is the high king. Yeah. Because I know someone was making an argument, yeah, but it's just one king. But yeah, but you can say that. But at the end of the day, if that's Yahushua, which Yahushua is our king, I'm not saying he's not. But then
Yahushua told the church, when he comes to rule, they're going to rule along.
They're going to rule too, right? So that means there's going to be a kingship. But what does the kingdom mean? Domicile the king, right? But Israel is kings and priests. So there's a whole nation full of kings. You see what I'm saying? But there's the order and rank with these kings. Yahushua is not the ultimate king because we still know the Most High is king. You see what I'm saying? So you can say that, but we talk about the one king. It's about David. In the prior verse that he's reading, chapter that he's reading, book, right? Yeah, Ezekiel, right? So it's talking about David. But it doesn't mean Yahushua is the king. Yahushua is the high king, and the Most High is like the ultimate king. You know, there's so much higher titles. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, whatever the case may be, whatever title they hold, you know, there's order and there's rank. And we all know it starts from the Heavenly Father.
It's the book of 1 Corinthians 11 and 1. Be ye followers of me, even I, as I also am of a Mashiach. Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things and keep the ordinance as I deliver them to you. But I would have you know that the head of every man is a Mashiach, and the head of the women is a man, and the head of a Mashiach is Moshe.
That's right. So, yeah, that's why the Lord is our Lord. Even King David said, "The Lord is, you know, my Lord." Well, yeah, my Lord saith to my Lord, he acknowledges Yahushua as his king, as his Lord over him. You know, but he's like, well, number 3 in that respect. You know, the Most High Yahushua, King David. That's what the order would be. And then you got the remaining of the 12, you know, the rest of the 11, right? And then you got everybody else underneath. You know, now wherever your position, man, you know, let's not be you know, let's not be greedy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're anywhere in that list of the righteous, of the elect, man, be happy.
I would rather be a doorkeeper.
Yeah.
In the house of the Lord.
Yeah. That's right. Be happy.
Be humble as well.
Be humble. Be happy with you that you've been given anything. Right? We don't need to say, look, oh yeah, but John's got this position. Why? Like you know, the chorus situation, they always say, oh, why not like Moses? Why is he holding the highest seat? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the seat Moses holds. That's not for you to decide. The Most High decided who's going to sit in what seat. Just be happy that you're picked at all. You know? And that's what we're saying, man. Be humble, man, because I just want to get on the chariot. I just want to get the lip. I want to be made perfect. I want to be made righteous. I don't want to go out with dishonor. I don't want to do that, right? I want to be received, you know, in a positive light to the Heavenly Father, man. And I don't care if I'm the last one. You know? I don't care what man's above me. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what man's to the left, to the right. I don't care. I just want to be there amongst that song. I want to be part of that number. Yeah, I don't care if, you know, number, whatever number you are, it's the last number, man. It don't matter. You know what I mean? But you got envious men wanting to take on these positions. But it's not for you to take. It's not for you to have. Even John asked Yahushua about being, you know, to stand in his right hand. I can't remember exactly how he put it, but he wanted to be the right hand of Yahushua. But he said, it's not my office to give. You don't know what you're asking, because the Most High already set it up. The Most High already said, David is a man after my own heart. Right? David has a high position with the Most High. You see, you can't just take that seat. It's not. John couldn't take that seat, even though Yahushua, you know, he loved John. You know what I mean? He preferred John, but it's not him. Like, it wasn't for him to give him that seat. The Most High would decided David sits here. You can't have that seat. You're gonna have a lesser seat, you know. But he's still among the 12. He's just under the King David. He's just under King David, under Peter. You know, that's all it is. Don't get mad. You know what I mean? Don't get upset. It's a good position. It's a good position, man. You know, we're all blessed. But you know, Jake, I don't know, man. Jake just they wanna be the ultimate best Israelite, innit? If they could, they would.
That's what it is.
But they don't want to put the work in for it. Egos are too big. They want to be the flyest Negro in the room. You know?
Even the word is a key. They have 7. So the same, man, the King of Kings, they have what? 7 of you. And it's happened to be us to work alongside him.
Yeah. It's like I said, if they could, they'd have Yahushua's seat, man. But these guys ain't put the time and the energy in and make the sacrifices. They ain't done all that. This is what smacks it. They want to hold these titles, they want to hold these positions, but they ain't done what the other men have done, man. They couldn't do what Yahushua did. You know, they couldn't be Peter. You know what I mean? It's the same with these upstarts. They can't be the elders and apostles, man. They've done what they've done, you know? But they want it anyway. They feel like they deserve it. But you ain't done shit, man. You ain't done right. You ain't done enough, man. You ain't done right. You know? That's why you're not gonna attain what you seek. Right? What does the scripture say about the last shall be first and the first shall be last? You know, you guys, you want it now. You want to go in being the guy. You know, so you're going to be the guy, try and be the guy in this world, man. Well, guess what? You're going to hold a low position, man. You know, you're going to hold a low position. And that's why, you know, the elect and the rest of Israel, they're separated, really. Right? The elect are rulers over the rest of Israel. Even though they're kings, even though they're priests, they're going to rule over the rest of the Israelites. Not with vigor or nothing like that, but they're just going to be in order. You know, they're just going to be in order, and they're going to recognize that order. You know, and they're not going to be as honored or as glorified as those men. You know, that's what it is. That's it. Okay. Yeah. Grab me Hosea 3 and 4. I just want to check something.
So you go that Hosea 3 and 4. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without teraphim. Afterward shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord their power, and David their king, and shall fear the Lord and his goodness in the later days.
Right. So again, you know, speaking about these men that came before us, that were here before the elders apostles, right? King Marshall, right? And the scripture say we should seek our king, King David. But when was that going to take place? You know. And there was another scripture I can't find. I don't know why I can't find it. Whether or not typing in the right words or not. But I remember there being a scripture about being in captivity with our king. Something to that effect. You know, brothers know what that is. You know, post it up. But you know, we would meet King David. Well, I've not met King David, but you know, King Marshall. But he was said to be here with us, right? He's been here with us, right? These men would have been here at some point with us, man. As we all know, like, you know, as we say, King Marshall, he's passed on, but he was to be with us at some point, right? Just like Elijah would be here with us at some point. Certain men have come and gone, right? Now, if you can't identify these men in the spirit, then you know you haven't got the eyes to see it. You know, like I said, I never met the man, but I believe in the testimony through our apostles, man. That they were there. They were, you know, live witnesses, man. Eyewitnesses to everything that went on with those men. All right. And so in faith, you take that too. Right? But King David would have to been here. Okay, so whether he's passed or not, that doesn't matter. Because he's gonna be back. Oh, you got it? Okay, fine. What up? Hey,
This is the book of Deuteronomy 8 and 36. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy father have known, and there shalt thou serve at the power of wood and stone.
All right, so we're under the captivity of these Edomites, man. Right, because it's talking about the you know, the whole going into captivity on the ships and all that kind of stuff, right? So we're under Esau. Esau is ruling over us. He has in chains, has in boats. Okay, these prophecies were fulfilled, right? Including the fact that, you know, we've been in captivity with a king. Now, did we officially have a king? No, because who has a king in captivity? We couldn't establish ourselves. We had no king. with Marshall in the spirit was King David, right? So even though he didn't literally have a king crown on his head, he didn't have a throne, and he didn't have authority, the man himself was King David in the spirit. And the men at the time recognized that. They saw it in the spirit. The men that are more diligent in the spirit than us, you know, they recognized it, and they made obeisance. They recognized him, and made oaths and so on, right? And like I said, this torch that we hold now has been passed on for a particular line, okay? And we have to have faith in the Most High's process. At the end of the day, that we hold that very same torch that Yahushua gave all the way through the apostles back then, disciples back then, and returned in the spirit, because he had to return in the spirit, but there's no continuing line of teachers. None of the disciples survived. There's no continuing line. That's why I say we should put away from our heritage. There should be a fall in the way, right? All this, it broke. It broke, right? So the only way it was going to come back was through the spirit, by these prophecies being fulfilled, by Elijah the prophet coming, by Elijah the prophet, bringing his truth to other men to teach, so they can pass it on. And this is where we're end up today.
So we go to Revelation 10 and 11. And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many prophets, before many people, and nations, and tongues, and kings.
Right? That's John. Right? So he has to come back. So the Apostle John came back. I don't know if I watched the video closely enough, but I believe they say High Priest Ariel is John. High Priest Ariel. They say who's John. Remember correctly.
Yeah.
You know. So
yeah, John.
If I remember correctly, right? And so these men had to come back, because he's prophesied these men will return and do these things, right? And you could tell they're great men in the spirit. You know, I've seen the videos, man, and it's different. It's different. It just is different. You know, call it what you want, but you can just tell. Now, just like Peter just could tell, it was the Lord. No, that was Yahushua, the Son of God. You can just tell. You just knew. And I can't explain that to you. I can't break that down to you. I can't make you see what I see or feel how I feel. I can't do that, right? If you can't see it, you can't see it. And that's just it. You know, I'm not here to convince you that these are these men. If you don't want to believe it, don't believe it. I'm just saying you, I believe it. You know, for reasons that I've been given. You know, in the scriptures and so on. No, you don't have to accept it. It's whatever. But I'm just saying, who else is it then? If it's not these men, who else is it? You know, where are these prophecies being fulfilled? Who are they being fulfilled by? You know, that's what I'm saying. That's it. That's it. That's right. Demona. It goes First Corinthians chapter 3. That's not the
Corinthians 3 and 1. It's 3 and 1 says, and I, brethren, would not speak unto you as unto spiritual, but as unto carnal, even as unto babes in a manger. I have fed you with milk and not with meat.
Right, so everybody starts off with that milk. Right? Some of us already got into the meat. You know what I'm saying? We all start off with that milk. Meaning we're all children in this thing when we come in this thing. Because we're not spiritually discerned yet. We don't have that knowledge and understanding yet. So we have to start with basics. Right? If some people want to jump on the basics, super elite stuff, because they want to feel deep. But they haven't yet got a grasp of the milk yet properly. So how can they deal with the me? How can they deal with the deep spiritual stuff when they can't even deal with the new part? You know? Yep.
I've fed you, I have fed you with milk and not with meat, for either to ye were not able to bear it.
So a question again, like who fed you? Who fed you? Who gave you that milk? Did you give it yourself? Or was you fed? Did someone feed you? Everyone ask that question to themselves seriously, man. You know, who fed you, man? Right? And a lot of times you're gonna end up back at the apostles, you know, that gave you this truth. Right? Yep.
Uh, for either to ye were not able to bear it, neither yet now are ye able.
Right? Because you're gonna bug out. You don't want to just start off with meat, man, because you'll bug out, you'll choke. It's like a lot of these guys are doing that, just bugging out, going off the deep end, man. Yeah.
For ye are yet carnal, for whereas there is among you envy and strife and divisions,
Mm-hmm.
are ye not carnal and walk as men? For while one says, I am of Paul, and another, I am of Apollos, are ye not carnal? Who then is Paul, and who is Apollos? But ministers are by whom he believed, even as the Lord gave to every man.
Right? You believed in these men. Because it was a portion of spirit was given to them. And you came out under them. Now it didn't matter who it was you came under, because ultimately they were teaching the same thing. Whether it was a follower or if it was Paul. They both taught the same thing. Right? That was the important thing. They taught the same thing. So when this truth is passed down, it's meant to stay on that path. It ain't meant to divert into another path where someone's teaching something a little bit different or a little bit different still. That's how wickedness creeps in. That's how false doctrine comes in. Because it might be like a little variant of it. It might be something a little different, but it's not exactly the same. It's a little bit different. And then more things, little differences come in. And next thing you know, it's a big difference now. It's not the same thing as it once was. You know? And that's the thing. That succession is passed on through these men we've been speaking about unto our elders and our apostles unto us. You know, staying on that path, not diverging from that path, wanting to do our own thing, teach different things that you a minute ago didn't know nothing about. You know?
Who then is Paul, and who is Apollos, but minister by whom ye believed, even as the Lord gave to every man? I have planted, I have planted, Apollos watered, but Most High gave the increase.
That's right. Most High is bringing us into this truth, man, allowing us to understand the things that we're being taught. Right? Because the Most High is usually going to teach, to share the word, but only it's the Most High to unlock your mind, give you eyes to see, ears to hear. Because if you're the Most High in doing that, it doesn't matter how much you teach it. You know, it doesn't matter how many times you go through the breakdowns and through the precepts, it doesn't matter. If the Most High ain't unlocked you, man, he ain't been unplugged out of the matrix, he ain't going to receive it. Right? You're going to believe whatever it is. The matrix says that. Believe whatever they want to believe. That's what these people do. They believe in whatever they want to believe, and they just run with that because it suits them. It works for them. Right? But if they're of the Lord, man, it don't matter who this truth is coming from, it should all be the same. It should all be the same, man. Okay? That's why continuing the things which thou hast learned. It should always be the same. Yes, things grow, things develop, but it's predominantly the same doctrine. When you bring in different doctrines now, that's not growth, man. That's divergence. You know. Continue on.
I have planted, Apollos watered, but Most High give the increase. So then, neither is he that planteth anything, neither he that waters, but Most High that giveth the increase. Now, he that planteth and he that water are one.
They are one, right? But it's the same. Okay. Yep.
Uh, and every man shall receive his, and every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor. For we are laborers together with Most High. Ye are Most High husband.
Right. So we're laborers for Yahweh Shai. Right. We're laborers for Yahweh Shai. We're here to do His work. Okay. We are hired to do His work. All right. Yep.
Ye are Most High husbandry. Ye are Most High building.
Right. We're the temple of the Lord. We're the kingdom of heaven. Because it starts with the people. The Most High is saying we are the Most High's building. Right. That's right. We make up the the first temple. You know, the Lord, Yahweh said that you don't come with much observation, right? Because it's not something you want to see established, like built, erected, just there. No, it's the people coming together. But you're not gonna notice that. You're not gonna understand that that's the building right there. That's the church. That's the temple. You don't understand these things, right? So we're the ones being built. Yahweh Shai is building us, right?
According to the grace of Most High, which is given unto me as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another builders their own. But let every man take heed how he builds their own.
Right.
Thereupon.
Right. How you build, man? Because you could say, we come in after a while, right? But you got elders, apostles, man, they'll be like master builders, right? Because you've got experience, and all of that, right? They've been in it a long, long time, right? They learned of their elders and their apostles, right? Or their elders, right? So, beginning with the foundations that have already been set, you have to build in the same manner. Like we that come in have to build in the same manner as the master builder has instructed us, right? Because if you're not listening to what the master builder is saying, i.e. apostles, and following the instructions, well, guess what? You're going to be putting down sloppy bricks, man. Half-baked bricks that are going to break. And go on, what did you say?
Yeah, even Moses, when he was given about the vision of the temple, the mountain, he passed on them to the men that left there. So at the end, it's come to Solomon.
Yep.
Which Solomon is the one who uphold is the temple. Yep. Which we believe Solomon is what?
Yep.
So the same as brother said, man, everything has to be in order and in the work. With the right measure and everything.
Yep.
You can't just put here too much or here so little.
Yeah, you can't build how you want to build on the foundation that's already been set. That's not going to work. Right? That building is going to be unstable. Right? And that also goes into like schisms of the body. You got to be on the same page. You got to be one. You got to be of one agreement, of one understanding. But like I said, guys, that's why they get kicked out, because they're trying to build differently. But then they start their own thing. They start in their own cornerstone. They want to start their own foundation. But their foundation's in hip hop, in gangsterisms and schools and whatever it is as an agenda to promote yourself. We're not here to promote ourselves, man. To look good in fancy the world, so the world likes us and joins unto us, and we get more people and more money. And no, I said we ain't dealing with that. You don't need to deal with that. Yeah. Is that what the apostles did? I don't remember reading it.
It's right to be the community. Not like because it's the whole. Use the word, but not all. Use. But the passion of this word is supposed to pass away.
But the endeavors that you're embarking on are vain. And to think that you're going to establish yourself or your community in Babylon is ridiculous. You know, we haven't got a homeland. We're not in Jerusalem, you know, or Judea. We're not there. Okay, we're scattered, right? And yeah, you might want to, you might want a bit of comfort. You might want to, make this community, that community, or schools and businesses and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, there's no point in all of that. When all you was asked to do was teach, you know. Yep. Right. Oh, no. Yep.
It's the book of Hebrew, 13 and 14. For here have we no continued seat, but we seek one to come.
Yeah, seek one to come. So where's our mind? Is it here trying to establish your own city, or Acon City? All of that. Is that what we're here to do?
You have to pay tax.
Yeah. Well, he had to take out a loan for that, so he's still subject. So the lender is servant to the borrower is servant to the lender, so he's still a servant. He's still a slave. To the bankers. So is that what we're meant to be doing? Are we meant to be rooting ourselves into this world? No, we're not meant to be doing that. The disciples and the apostles, man, they were just commanded to go teach. The apostles, they were sent away. You know what I'm saying? They weren't anywhere in particular. They were going everywhere. So they had no time to do nothing like that. They just went and taught. And their lives were, some of them were cut short. Persecution. Yeah,
persecution. Most of them free, is it? If they used to have houses or whatever, they have business stuff like that, but they have to free. Yeah. Because they didn't put their hearts on their work, on the thing that they have in that time. On the mindset they have the work is to push the word,
Because it seems like as well, like any time like Israelites embark on a venture, right, to do something, it ends up corrupt anyway. There's always some corruption going on. Someone's getting done in or outdone, because wickedness just creeps in type of environments, man. People trying to shortchange people and stuff like that, and then it just becomes a house of wickedness. And again, it's something they all this experience before, with all the tables and all that kind of stuff. Wickedness was just breeding. So that's because they were concentrating too much on the money. The men start going after mammon. And we just need to concentrate on what we're supposed to be doing. Keep our eyes single. Everything that we do in this world is really just one of those things that it's just something you do. Like you go work and that it's not a part of your direction. Like a better word, man. It's not your goal. It's just something. It's a means to an end kind of thing. Get your daily bread. Do what you're doing, innit? But like, if you got to put extra effort in to build this and build that, and it's taking time from the work, the proper work, the real work, then it's not advantageous to you, man. You're losing out. You're not gaining.
You got to take loans.
And like I said, wickedness creeps in, and you're getting all this madness that's going on. It really wasn't worth it at the end of the day. And like I said, this place is about to be destroyed anyway. So how long do you really think you're gonna hold on to something like that? So it sounds like a waste of time to me. But, that's not to say you can't have your little business running and all that kind of stuff, but when you're making that your focus, that's when things go wrong. That's when your spirit's not right with the Heavenly Father,
Things were prepared to lose everything. That's what it is.
That's it. That's it. It's verse 10, isn't it?
I got a quick one about the stones. It's a book of 2 Peter, 1 Peter 2 and 5. He also, as a lively stone, are built. I start from what was it? To whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of Most High and precious. Ye also, as a lively stone, are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifice acceptable to Most High by Yahweh Mashiach. Wherefore, also it is contained in the scripture, behold, I read in Zion the chief cornerstone, elect precious, and he that believeth on him shall not be confounded. So if you build up on the foundation which was already laid down by Yahweh, which is Yahweh, you're not going to be confounded on the head. But if you try to turn it different side,
or you're not trying to you're not building it right. You know, that's confusion. So what are you saying now? Have we now got to take back every brick that's been laid and start again? Is that what you're saying? No, you're doing something wrong. You know what I mean? The foundation's already been laid, and they're following the instructions that were given to them. For you to come in now and say, no, you're not building it right, you're just here lately, you only come lately. Like, what's wrong with you, man? What do you want us to do? Like, what do you think should happen? You think there's something wrong that we were doing, or something wrong that you're doing? What do you think is the more plausible? You know? Come on, man. This trick is ancient, man. You know what I'm saying? It all goes way back. And you just want to come up now and say you're doing it wrong. So,
this is 1 Corinthians 3 and 10. According to the grace of Most High, which is given unto me as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another builders thereon. But let every man take heed how he buildeth thereupon.
Right. So pay attention. Take heed to how you build. All right. Yep.
For other foundation can no man lay. For other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Yahweh Shai Mashiach.
That's right. Okay, so like we were getting into, you know, after other business came, right, and brought this truth to us, man. That was kind of a beginning, a foundation that was laid, right? This only is from the Spirit, power, Yahweh Shai. But like I said, there was a discontinuation, right? So we have to start again, right? In this time that we're living in now. So our brethren set that foundation. And every man since then have had to build upon that the right way, though, because there's some guys that come in that didn't build the right way, and they're not in the truth no more. Right? But like I said, it went through certain men, right? And it's been passed down to us through our elders and our apostles, right? So we continue to build in that same fashion. So you can't start building something else. You can't decide you're going to build differently. The foundation is already set. Okay? Yep.
Now, if any man build upon this foundation, gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it.
Right. So depending on how you're building, right, what material sources you're using, i.e., whether you're building with truth or not, you're building with sincerity, you're building with charity, building with understanding, all the righteous aspects. They're more like an unto your gold and your silver, your precious stones, right? Decent materials, But if you're building with stubble, wood, and hay, eventually, they're not compatible, man. They're them things that can get burnt up. All right, and this is what these people are trying to introduce, man. They're trying to introduce a new way of making something. The new doctrines is like a new method, a new type, cheap material, cheap resources. It's like today, these houses that are being built on a cheap. They're not as good as they used to be. You know, that's why you got Grenfell Tower burning down to the ground because they use cheap ass fucking plastic that gets set on fire because they didn't want to spend the extra money on getting proper material. You know, and that's like in none of these other camps. What they're building with now, man, is not sound. Right? It's not sound, and in the end, it's going to be made manifest unto them. All right, go on up.
For the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire,
Yep.
and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is.
Right. So if it's gold, you know, it's going to be cool. Yeah, you know, it's going to stand. But if it's wood, if it's stubble, you know, it's definitely going to set alight because that's what they do. Wood set alight, nice, right? Stubble, nicer. It just goes up in flames, right? And then that's what I'm saying. If that's what you're coming with, that's how you're building. Because you're not coming with the 100% truth, or you're not coming in sincerity, you're not coming in charity, but you're coming with pride, you're coming with ego, you're coming with malice. You know, if you're coming with all those things are gonna get burnt up, man. And strife. All those types of things are gonna get burnt up, man, because the Lord don't take no pleasure and no delight in those things. You know? And I said that's not the foundation that we've been brought up on. We ain't been brought up on that foundation. That's why we talk about being humble. Right? That's why we talk about teaching correctly or having 100% truth. We're not here to you know, mess with the materials, man. Because part of the instructions is to have 100% truth. You know, to teach correctly, to be sincere. Those are part of the instructions, part of the ingredients to a good building. You know, but these guys come up a different way. But there is no other way. There's only one way, and that's through Yahweh Shai and the men that he picked out to bring this truth, man. And like I said, if it's not the line that I've been speaking about today, beginning with Abba Bibbins, then what line is it? What men did it pass through? Because you didn't get it of yourself. I keep saying that you didn't get it of yourself when you were taught. So what men was it?
If any man work abide, which he has built thereupon, he shall receive the reward.
Right. So if you built well, you know, you use the you know, you follow the correct instructions, you use the right materials, you know, you did this truth and sincerity, man, you're gonna be rewarded. All right? And that's what we're hoping for. You know, that's what we're hoping for today, that we did the right thing, we did it correctly. It's the best that we could, you know? Because obviously there's always elements where we know we need that mercy, right? We need the grace. Right? But we're hoping we did the best that we could and it's acceptable. You know? But you got others that obviously it's not acceptable. You know, what you did, you know, the site manager comes along, he's looking at the building, looking at the parts, like, what the fuck is this? You know? And you find yourself getting sacked, man. Getting sacked off the job because you're shoddy work. You know?
And even if you're building a house, anything you're building now, all the stone are not going to be the same. All the stone have to walk.
It's got to be cut the correct size. You know, it's got to be level. You can't make a house unlevel. You know what I'm saying? But this is what's lacking to these other groups. Their buildings they ain't had the right education, man. You know, my dad bricklays that. You know, he can tell me everything too about building houses, but you know, you have to learn, right? You got the qualifications for that. These guys ain't got the right education, man. They ain't been given the truth in its entirety to actually work proper on the job. You know, so like, you know what? Yeah, screw it. I just want to put it this way because I can. You know, because I'm the great one. Yeah, put that there, and it just fucked up. Don't even look right. You know what I'm saying? It's all fucked up, cement everywhere. But nah, that's sick. It's shit, man. You know? Yeah, don't even hold together proper. Don't even hold together, man. You fucking hit it and just it'll break. Fall through. You know? Nah, the Lord ain't looking for those type of guys, man. You know, follow the fucking instructions, man. Follow the instructions that I gave you. You trying to do this random thing that you're doing. doing it of your own will. I don't tell you to do that. You know what I mean? The cheat. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, I've got a better way to do it. Nah, you don't know shit. You know, we don't know what you're talking about, man. Yeah, you don't know. You got something there? Okay, okay. Yeah, man. You guys don't know what it is. You don't know what it's about, man. You can look the part, you know, you can sound the part, but you got to be the part. You know, it ain't good enough to look and to see, look and you know, look and hear the part. You know, sound like the part, man. You know what I mean? Give yourself a nice title. Give these, you know, big, great oratory speeches, and you know, get open man's face with all the zeal and all this kind of. Yeah, you can do all that, but if you ain't got the proper, you know, you ain't made right, you weren't raised right, you ain't gonna do right, man. You ain't gonna do right, right? The elders and apostles are the master builders, man. They're giving us the instructions of how to build, right? Like I said, if you didn't learn that yourself, he was given the instructions of how to build, right? And so we should continue in how to build, right? Otherwise, we're gonna fuck up the building. But it said every man's work's gonna manifest himself, man. So it's not that it's a detriment to the whole building. The whole building will be fine. It's just gonna be you who put those shitty bricks in there, put that wood in there, put whatever you put in there. That's gonna get fucked up. You're gonna get judged, which you're gonna go on to say. But you're gonna grab that. Grab what you grab me first.
Just,
So you're saying, yeah, you wanna come over a bit?
yeah, yeah, we just want to say, like, I mean, you need to have someone to guide you, man, in everything that you do. You know, as you say before, we came in as babies. You know, you don't need to start. I mean, eating meat, stuff, things that which are hard,
And,
which we don't have any teeth here.
and we're still children.
Yeah.
You know, we came in as babes, but we're still children. Like I said, 14 years, it might sound like a lot to a person, but it's not really that long in the grand scheme of everything, man. You know, I think about it, we're like you go nursery, you go or primary school, or maybe 5, 4, something like that, right? And you're in education all the way until maybe 16. So what? That's like 11 years, right? 12, 11 years. You're being taught before you're allowed to go work or doing anything, because you're not intelligent enough yet to do anything else yet. You know what I mean? So you just kept in school, right? And then you might do higher education, go college, university, or whatever. Do another 2, 4, 5, 6 years before you go out there into the world and start applying what you know. You know. So what? It's like 18 years, 19 years you're doing that for if you're going that far into learning. So 14 years is not that long. We're still children, man. You know, even if 14 years might be a lot longer than some of you out there, but 14 years is not that long, right? Because like I said, the elders, the apostles have got double the amount of years on us, man. More than double the amount of years on us.
The true story where we see for me.
I wasn't even born yet. No, I'm late 80s. You know, 87, and I say they were well before that. You know, and so yeah, we're still children, really, man. You know, elders have got more than double the time on us, man, and you got to respect that. You know what I'm saying? You know, they've been through so much more than us, and they understand more than us, and they've worked harder than us. Let's be honest, man. Let's be honest about it. They've worked harder than all of us, man. Because how they had to come up was different to how we come up, man. We got the internet and shit. You know what I'm saying? They had to go. They had to go to libraries, do marathon lessons. I mean, there's been a few times we did some long classroom lessons and stuff like that, but nothing like the elders used to do after camp. You know what I mean? They used to do after camp. Be out there all day and then go do an all night afterwards, man. They used to go for books, man. They go for books. They still go for books now. You know, but information is more easily accessible now.
Everything we have,
it's easier.
Simplified.
I know. We complain sometimes. You know, do this, do that. Sometimes you get the spirit because your flesh is like that. You can't bother to do certain things now. But realistically, man, it's a hell of a lot simpler and easier than it used to be. You know, a hell of a lot simpler. You know, so you have to understand the work and time and energy the elders, the apostles have put into this thing, man. The amount of time they put into building. And that's right. That's right. We these guys just brats. They got everything on the plate. They're just brats, man. And you know, get that puberty stage and just being very retarded, man. Just want to slap the shit out of them. You know what I mean? Go to your room, man. Slap that one. Go to your room, man. I want to hear you. They're at that stage, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, like, my boy's getting older now. Like, he's coming to the teens soon, man. He's getting me more vexed now. You know what I mean? He's being stupid. You know what I mean? But not my boy. But they go through that phase, right? We all know that they've got children old enough. They go through that phase. We've been through it. You got to reverse. You don't want to hear your parents no more. You're gonna do how you want to do it. Nah, but you're still under rulership. You're still under tutelage. Can't do what you're still under the roof of their house, under their rules. But some guys like, now I'm gonna move out. I'm gonna do my own thing. And then you find out what it's like to live, and you'd be like, yeah, wasn't ready yet, wasn't ready. Can you lend me some money? I ain't paid my rent because you didn't realize, you didn't know, But then someone just, I've got a brother that's like that. You got one of those, ones that just he's too proud. He ain't gonna go back. He ain't gonna say no. He's gonna suffer. He's doing, you have to know it all. But whatever, man. But at the end of the day, man, you don't know enough. And really, you should just listen. You should just listen. Yeah.
But now
Yeah, you're not as smart as you think you are. You're not as grown as you think. And that's the mistake that a lot of youths make. When it's about disobedience.
It's true. Some of these brothers, as you say, these brothers who came in, they have 15 or 12, 14 years. Who came in to us, who just come out, but they become like, they think like now they can, outperform the work that they are supposed to have done.
You're not even close. We're not even close. And you have to admit that honestly, man. You gotta be real with yourself, man. You're not even close. None of us are even close, man. But like I said, I'm just happy that I'm here, that I'm a part of this thing, and Lord, when I stay a part of this thing, man. I can't. Obviously the elders have got their lot, their talent, and all that's theirs. I don't want their talent. I'm just concentrating on myself, trying to do what I can with mine. Because I can't be the eldest. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to be the elder. Everybody wants to be in the highest seat and do this. But there's a lot of responsibility with that office, man. There's a lot of responsibility with that office, man. Are you prepared to take that on too?
The more you have, the more responsibility.
That's it, man.
More demons are gonna come from your way.
The more you got to deal with, man. And yeah, are you prepared for that? Because it ain't all glitz and glamour, man. Just because you got a high office, it ain't all glitz and glamour. That's why sometimes you got to be happy with what you got. Be content with your position, man. Work with what you got. Stop eyeing up somebody else's position or wanting to. Oh yeah, but one day. Because I don't know about you guys. I don't know how you think in it, man. But I don't know. Come and thinking that I want to be an elder one day. I'm gonna rule over this man and this man. I tell man what to do. You know what I mean? I didn't even think I'd be here in this world.
Even the
in 2022, I didn't even think I'd be here.
Even back in time when the high priest was raised, until that high priest dies, and another one gonna come. So that's more to be like
yeah.
All at one time.
Yeah. And then that's just it, man. End of the day, man. Just stay humble. Keep your feet flat on the ground, keep your head straight. And don't give occasion to Satan, man. Because Satan is the one that's in your ear, convincing you of these things, to buck up, to rebel, and to Iron Man's office, or to feel envy or jealousy and all this stuff. So it's Satan. But if you're not wise enough to understand that, then you're gonna get taken, man. That's why you got to rebuke Satan. right? Because like I said, he out here trying to twist everything in your mind up, trying to make you doubt things. But that's the path of going astray. You're leaving the way you was taught because you gave occasion to Satan.
Really, the contract here, Paul said he was given much liberation. Almost say, oh, good work. The son of
The elements, yeah,
so it's not going to be overmuch. Cloud and
yeah, that's right.
And the man teaching the gospel.
Yep. And even when Paul prayed to have that lifted off him, he got told that my grace is sufficient for you. Because at the end of the day, Paul was a great man in the truth, but he was also a great adversary for the truth. You know, so there's things that Paul had to suffer, man, because there's things he had done. You know, and that's why Paul was given such a great task, because he's got to kind of make amends. That's why Paul had to go to all these places. That's why Paul did all this work, and why Paul did all this zeal, because he had to kind of match what he did when he was against the truth. You know, he had to surpass that, and whatever he had to enjoy, he enjoyed it, man, because he knew in the back of his mind that you're right, you know, because I'm suffering, but it's no less than I deserve, you know, because I'm wretched. Paul said, I'm wretched, right? But Paul knows, like, he knew that, look, I've got this job to do, man, I'm going to do it. You know, regardless of how I'm feeling, I'm going to go do it, man, because that's what the Lord desired of me, man. That's the right thing to do. You know?
And all through all that regulation that he gets to that led to the hour shine, but he didn't know. Take it from him. He was not envying the position that Peter had.
No.
All the other apostles who were before him.
Yeah, Paul didn't go to Peter, yeah, but you ain't going nowhere. I'm the one traveling all around the world here, all around Asia and all that kind of stuff. What are you doing? You know, what are you doing here in Judea? What are you doing here? You know, Paul wasn't trying to do none of that. He wasn't getting proud. You know, because he understood. He understood, man. He had understanding. Right? He weren't in that woe is me, like, oh yeah, I deserve this, I deserve that. You weren't in that spirit. He was concentrating on the job he was given. Everyone's given a different job to do, a different office to hold. Right? But we know what his position was. Right? And it can't be supplanted, it can't be taken. Okay, it was only given to him. And whatever Peter had to do, he did. You know, whether they saw it as less or more than anybody else, it doesn't matter. Peter did what he was supposed to do, as the Spirit commanded of him. Right? Because ultimately, all you let fulfill their lots. They do. You know, whether they could have done more, could have done less, they fulfill what they're supposed to fulfill. You know? Yeah, where was it?
16. This is Corinthians 3 and 16. 15. It's Corinthians 3 and 16. If any man's work shall be banned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved.
It's like he'll start giving 13 up. We'll get the context of that.
This is Corinthians 3 and 13. Every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is.
Yep.
If any man's work abide with it, which he has built thereupon, he shall receive a reward.
So if it survives, you know, after the fire come upon it, the adversity, and it survives, then there's a reward for those that survive. Enduring to the end, the saints shall be saved. Right? If it can endure, it should be, delivered. Man. Yep.
If man's works abide which he has built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burned.
Right, so if it's burnt in that fire, if it fails or falls in the day of adversity, right? Yep.
He shall suffer loss.
He shall suffer loss. Because only he's the thief going to be taken out of the picture. right? All that effort, all that work he's put in is gonna be it's gonna mean nothing, right? It's not gonna be rewarded. Well, you're gonna get rewarded, but it ain't gonna be of the good type.
Yeah, even the apostle right now, we are their works, isn't it?
Yep.
We come them in as their fruits, you know.
That's
So
right.
if we continue to the end, you know, then many they're gonna be what? Joyful. I mean, they teach us how to. That's where they gave us that when the Lord comes, we be the we perish. I mean, we on the process of time before the Lord comes. We start going away from the truth. They're gonna be saved, you know, but we're gonna be what? It's gonna be their loss.
That's right. That's why you gotta continue in the things that you shall done, right? If you can't depart from the way you've done, it's like when Scripture speaks about a man that turneth away from wickedness, right? His wickedness shan't be remembered, right? If he goes into be righteous, right? But if a righteous man turns to wickedness, his righteousness shan't be remembered. You know, so you gotta continue. You have to continue in it, man. All right, and like we mentioned, you know, about brothers that may be martyrs in the street, man. Just because you die, don't mean that your works weren't good, right? Because you're gonna be delivered ultimately. You know, if you go to death, you're gonna be delivered. Even in death, you're gonna be delivered, right? And you're gonna be up in the spiritual world, waiting for the brothers to join you up in the sky when the time comes. And your Shai comes, right? So you still would have won. You still win. But for those that do this the wrong way, that you know that have corrupted this word and you know teaching for vanity, right? They're gonna get burnt up. They're gonna get destroyed, but they ain't gonna receive no glory. They ain't gonna receive no glory, man. Yeah, they're gonna return. If they're Israelites, they're gonna return and be in the kingdom. But there's not real glory attached to that. You're just there because you're an Israelite. You know, really. That you're the seed of Israel. But you're not gonna receive the same. You ain't gonna receive that glory in the same way the elect do. You know. Yep. We're gonna close up in a minute.
No, ye know that ye are the temple of Most High, and that the Spirit of Most High dwells in you. If any man defile the temple of Most High, him shall Most High destroy. For the temple of Most High is holy, which temple ye are.
That's right, man. So we gotta be careful how we build this, man. What we fill ourselves with. You know, the intent of how you do things. You know, doing it in the right spirit, teaching the truth, and not teaching off their own heart. Right? Because all that is defilement, really. All that's defilement. You know, and we're to be holy. We're meant to be pure. So we're not meant to have all these wicked doctrines come in and you know to pervert our understanding. We're not meant to stray from the path that was given to us. Because anything else is a perversion, right? It's not the same thing no more. So, like I said, we've been established, or this thing's been established on great men that have come before us, man. Right? And you can think it's spiritual or not, man. That's up to you. But we've entered into a great work that we must continue, right? And this, like I said, it's been passed on through these great men that we were speaking about, right? Like I said, we have to continue in that work, okay, and be assured of where it comes from. You know? Be assured of who now learned it from, right? And if you can't do that, it shows really ultimately that you lack faith. You lack faith. You don't believe that these men are set up, but you believe you've been set up. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. That's pride. Yeah, these men weren't set up, but I was set up. Come on, man. A new baby. New babies. What's that now?
It's the book of Revelation 2 and 25. But that which ye have already, hold fast till I come, which is this truth, the order and everything come with the truth, man. You need to hold fast and keep the Lord comes. You don't need to go on the left or on the right. And we need to remember that, straight, such narrow path, man. No?
Yep.
Following what we have been told, man.
The truth has always been narrow. And there's only ever been one truth.
If you want to bring your understanding,
Yeah. Your emotions and all of that, then obviously you're going to divert from that path. Like I said, this truth is ancient, man. And there's only ever been one way. You know? You just need to cleave onto that way. And that might be the hardest thing. You got Satan in your head. You know what I mean? It's a hard thing. You know? You got to deal with things you're uncomfortable with, or you feel inadequate because of your own understanding. You don't feel like you understand it, so you got your own understanding going on. You know? Or you don't agree with it because you're too emotional about certain things. You know? But you have to stay on the path, man. Yeah, you have to recognize where this truth has come from. Right? And that you have to continue with that truth. And that, ultimately that's what we believe in. You know, even if there's disagreements among brothers, you don't start acting like a douchebag, man. And well, I ain't following you no more. And then you're gonna talk shit about them. No, man, just do the right thing. Even if you don't get on with somebody, man, just continue doing the right thing. Don't worry about that man or whatever. Just teach the truth. You know. But when you get given the reign, that you feel like you can do what you want to do because you're in control now. You ain't got nobody over you. So there's nobody to stop you, no one to question you. You know, so you do things that are not correct. You know, but you make it correct because of your own will, because of your own ego or whatever. You know, but yeah, I'm gonna keep it else. Anything else? Okay. So we're gonna say all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem Chachwadash. Again, we want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles, GMS, who taught us and rule well, right? And the orders and honors that Moses out there watching, man. Stay humble, man. So next time, say shalom. All right, bro.